Hey YouTube, Kira Qualia here, bringing you all my Cardfight Vanguard Overdress Bastion Keter Sanctuary deck profile for Post A Brush with the Legends. This is one of the decks that was probably most requested on the channel since the release of A Brush with the Legends. It's a really awesome deck that focuses on the different amount of grade 3s you run in total with your main unit, which is Apex Ruler Bastion, and then just the onslaught that you can bring out against your opponent with the multiple attacks and just the powered up units and pressure you can provide to your opponent all together with the use of a big amount of grade 3s in the deck. Once again, thanks to my buddy Anthony for letting me borrow his deck for the video. Thanks as always, he's been the main Bastion user in my group of friends. So once again, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So we'll go ahead and start off with the ride deck with the starter being Knight of Heavenly Bow base. When this unit is rode upon, if you want second, draw a card. The pretty much standard go-to starter for the deck being one of the cards from the original Toya start deck, and with the grade 1 being Knight of Heavenly Sword Fort. When this unit is rode upon by Knight of Heavenly Spear Rooks, reveal 2 grade 3 from your hand, reveal top card of your deck and call it to rear. If it's a unit, and put into your soul, your drop if it isn't. Not your soul, it'd be way too broken there for sure. But with that setup on the field and the good majority of cards we're running being units, there's a good chance you'll hit a lot of those cards. And on rear, once per turn, which doesn't happen a lot since it's the only copy of the card we are running in the deck, you can counterblast 1 and choose one of your grade 3s. It gets +5 until end of turn. So definitely don't want to use the rear guard effect. That's why we're not running any additional copies of this card. It just eats up your counterblast too quickly. With our grade 2 being Knight of Heavenly Spears Rooks, when it's rode upon by Bastion, you reveal 3 grade 3s from your hand and draw a card. So much better than just the unit call because it's a draw, meaning you can draw into the order card and not miss out on any other card abilities. And our last card for the ride deck being the grade 3 of choice, which is Apex Ruler Bastion. And with this one, it's our main go-to card. Definitely had to run the DSR rare in the deck and the ride deck. It's an awesome card. Probably still one of my best pulls from the set altogether. So it just, makes the ride deck that much stronger for sure. But moving on to the actual main deck for the additional grade 3s, and the grade 3s make up a good majority of the deck as a whole. We are running 3 additional Apex Ruler Bastion on Vanguard Circle. During your turn, all of your grade 3 units get plus 2,000 power, and on your Vanguard Circle also once per turn at the end of the battle that your drive check revealed a grade 3, discard a card from your hand, choose one of your rear guards, stand it, and it gets plus 10,000 power until end of turn. So there are a lot of different grade 3s that we're running in the deck that just get added pressure with that restand and plus 10,000 power to use against your opponent, whether they be attacking a rear guard or hitting your opponent's Vanguard again. You have plenty of options with Apex Ruler Bastion and the additional use of other cards in the deck like the Over Trigger to just keep the pressure going against your opponent and all of your rear guard attacks. So 3 of this also means you can just keep the Persona rides consistent. So you have the plus power from Bastion himself and also the additional plus 10 power from the Persona ride. For the other grade 3s that we are running in the deck, we're still running the 4 Knight of War Damage Fasado. This one is the pressure card. This unit cannot be chosen by your opponent's card effect, so it can't be placed into prison. It can't be retired. It's basically untouchable. So with it, you have a great front row setup, and also with the pressure on rear guard, when this unit attack hits, you counter charge 1/soul charge 1. So with this option available to you, you have the setup for your soul, your damage to keep on using counterblasts, you name it. So a definite 4 in the deck, so you always see this card having it, like I said, as the ideal front row rear guard setup with your Bastion as Vanguard. For the additional setup of soul cards and power cards, also running 4 Knight of Broadaxe Refluke on rear guard. Put this unit into your soul, choose one of your grade 3 rear guards. It gets plus 10,000 until end of turn. So not only will this card provide soul power, but it will give additional power to some rear guards we already spoke of with this card. So it's a grade 3 rear guard. You can't give the power to Bastion with this one, but you're still providing that soul for a bunch of our other soul cards that we use for soul blasting. Makes this a definite 4 of. The plus 10,000 power just gives it that much more of a bonus also. And I also run 4 of the Grand Heavenly Sword Alden with this one. When this unit is placed on rear guard, Counterblast 2 and Soul Blast 1. Choose a card from your hand, call it to rear. If you called a grade 3, draw 2 cards. And on rear guard, when this unit attacks, if you have 3 or more grade 3 units, it gets plus 5,000 till end of turn. So even if this unit attacks, with this card being the option when it attacks, you can get the plus 5. It can restand again, and then the additional plus 5 when it attacks again, because it's not a once per turn, and it's until the end of turn, not just until the end of that battle, making that power stack if you were to have this card being the card to restand, which most of the time you will restand Alden if you don't have a Fasado to restand for that pressure, and all determining on when you attacked with which unit first during the turn as well. And still going into the grade 3s, I said they're the majority of the deck. We're running 3 Darkstrain Dragon, running a good majority of grade 3s. We need boost options, and with the soul buildup that some of our other cards in the deck can provide. Darkstrain Dragon, on rear, if you have 3 or more grade 3 units, Soul Blast 2 and all of your grade 3s get boost until end of turn. So this is just added power for the soul. When you're not using it for Alden, you have the option to give your grade 3 rear guards the boost power. We have a new grade 3 unit in the deck that also provides boost, but this being able to provide boost to other ones as well is just that added plus. When you don't have the soul, you can rely on your new unit that we'll get to in just a bit. Otherwise, you'll run Darkstrain Dragon. If you want to adjust any of the numbers of this card, you can drop this for the new card, which we'll get to in just a bit. But some of the other new cards from the latest set, running 3 Soaring Dragon, Prideful Dragon. This is more pressure on rearguard when this unit attacks. If you have 4 or more grade 3 rearguards, you counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1, draw a card. If you Persona Road this turn, you may have this unit get +5 additional critical till end of turn instead of drawing the card. So it all comes down to the pressure. If your opponent has 4 damage and you want to hit for this card for a potential game, you'll use that. But if you need more of a defense, since your opponent's at low damage, then that's when the draw will definitely come in handy. All depending on the Persona Rai as well, giving you those different options for this card and what you have ready to go. For the other card from the set, we are running 2 of the Heavenly Bow of Editing Guidance, with this one being your boost card. On the rear guard, if you Persona Road this turn, it gets boost. And from the back row, on rear, once per turn, when your other unit stands by a card effect, you stand this unit. So this card can provide boosts on the Persona Road turn for your rear guard that it is boosting. And then if you reveal a grade 3, you can stand the front row with Bastion's discard, and then also restand your Revelros in the back row for you to then be able to provide the additional boost once again with all of that pressure against your opponent. I only have the 2 in the deck. If you wanted to run 4 copies, you can always drop the number of Darkstrain Dragon down for more copies of this card. It'll all come down to just if you can Persona Ride more, then you can build up the soul for Darkstrain. That's why I like mixing and matching the different numbers between these cards and what I like to run. And that is it for the grade 3s. Always we're sticking to the major grade 3 power with our only grade 2 in the deck being Knight of Heavenly Spears Rook, with our grade 1 being the only additional copies that we run aside from the 1 in the ride deck, being 4 of the Aegis Mare Dragon being the Sentinel of choice if you were to guard with this card against your opponent, and having only the 1 other copy left in your hand. You don't have to pay the discard cost for it, meaning you can save the final copy against your opponent. I feel like I'm going to do this explanation for a good majority of the videos just so everyone knows how the new Sentinels are run with the Overdress format. And that's it for the grade 1s for our normal order that we run in the deck. Also running 3 Form Up O Chosen Knights, or 0 Chosen Knights. I really think it's O Chosen Knights, trying to go for more of the round table feel. You play this card with a Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1, perform all the effects below depending on the number of your grade 3 units. 2 or more, choose one of your units. It gets plus 5,000 until end of turn. 3 or more, draw a card. 4 or more, choose one of your vanguards. It gets drive plus 1 to end of turn. So with the Bastion deck, you must always, or most of the time will always get the drive plus 1, meaning you have more chances for your Bastion to reveal a grade 3 off of its triple drive, and then the additional power and draw power all just make up for this card being a minus otherwise if you didn't draw the card, and the plus for one of your units, just additional pressure if you were to give it to cards like Fasado. Moving on now to the trigger lineup, we're going for as much pressure as we can, so 7 critical with 4 of the Gargant and 3 of the Disma Witch. Once again, with Bastion potentially having triple drive with our order unit card, you can have this card just be the additional triple drive and reveal multiple critical triggers with that drive check. And for more pressure with restanding rear guards and also just powerful rear guard attacks, we're running 4 of the new front trigger, Bard of Heavenly Song, Alpac, and also having the additional shield against our opponent is what makes this another additional great plus against them. With the last of the trigger lineup being 4 of the Healer of Heavenly Staff Arches, for just the, I would say, heal of choice being more fitting with the actual Bastion deck altogether. And lastly, the over trigger is Light Dragon, Deity of Honors, Armartonella, with this one being able to give your rear guard drive checks. So with the grade 3s we have in the deck, that much more pressure altogether for rear guard attacks against your opponent, having more hand consistency and overall pressure for the drive checks also. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Once again, thanks again to my buddy Anthony for letting me borrow the deck for the deck profile. I definitely feel like we'll be getting more Bastion support with set 3 later on this year, so definitely can't wait to see what we'll be getting from that set for this deck. And as always, until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Qualia out.